All year round, we are commanded to make all these distinctions, to recognize very clearly, unequivocally, unambiguously, that which is right, that which is wrong, that which is moral, that which is amoral, that which is proper, that which is improper, that which is thanu'ah, that which is not thanu'ah, that which is tzodek and that which is not tzodek, tahor, tameh, kadosh, etc. Yahadut is all about making distinctions. So when we are faced with something which is negative, something which is improper, something which is wrong, we say so. And we're supposed to say so. We're supposed to appreciate something wrong as being wrong, something improper as being improper. We're not supposed to somehow make the line between good and bad, right and improper. We're not supposed to make those lines fuzzy. We're supposed to make those demarcation lines very clear and keep them clear. But on Purim, we know that in the world there are many phenomena, many realities that are unfortunate and improper, and we would be much happier if they didn't exist. But the fact is, they do exist. It's part of Hashem's world with which we must deal. And the story of Purim essentially teaches us that the bad also has a role to play in the Bria and the world. For instance, in the story of Purim, Megillat Esther, it says in the Talmud, the Masechet Shabbat, Hadar kibula b'mei Hashverosh. Because it says in the Tanakh, in Megillat Esther, it says that Kiemu b'kibula Yehudim, that the Jews accepted once again with great fervor and with great enthusiasm the Torah. In other words, the terrible disaster that had almost befallen them, the threat that had almost been realized of their destruction, had caused them to wake up, to change their approach. They were much less inclined to attach themselves to Hashem. They were quite happy to mix and intermarry with the non-Jews and take part in their parties and their celebrations, as is suggested in the Midrash and the Talmud about the Mesibah, the Mishteh of Ahashverosh mentioned at the beginning of the Megillah, where the Jews were invited and they came and they thought it was okay. In other words, there was a lot of hitbolaluth, assimilation. There was much assimilation. There was a lack of conviction as to their Jewish identity, and they were less frum, shall we say, less inclined to be good Torah Jews. The events of Purim, led by these Amalekim, this Haman and all his supporters, and he had many supporters in the country. If our forefathers killed 75,812 of these people, that's the number that you find in the Megillah, that's a lot of people. If they had to kill that many people to put an end to the phenomenon, then we're not talking about Haman and a couple of his cronies. We're talking about a mass movement in the Persian Empire, some kind of political party or faction within the government. Haman was a senior minister. There were lots of people who supported this policy of wiping out the Jews. So these events caused the Jews to reassess and to reconsider many things, and they changed their ways. They accepted upon themselves the Torah in a way they had not before. And Chazal even go as far as to say that they accepted the Torah now with greater fervor and with greater enthusiasm and simcha than they had even at Har Sinai. Because there, in other words, they had no choice but to accept the Torah. But here, they themselves opted to accept the Torah, to more fully embrace the Torah, etc. So the Ra, the evil in the world, also has a job, also has a purpose. It led to something very positive in the end, even though it did so in a very difficult and not in the way that we would choose or hope for, but sometimes negative things lead to positive outcomes. We actually see this today in Israeli society, and actually around the world, I think, in many Jews in the world, in other countries, in the United States, Europe, Australia, I don't know, wherever the Jews may be. We hear about all kinds of, and here in Israel certainly, there are many Jews who are much more drawn and more motivated to take their Jewishness much more seriously than before, because of the terrible, unfortunate, tragic and ghastly events of the last year and a half. Was that necessary? Those things have to happen to convince Jews to become proper Jews, or to at least to begin to think differently, to begin to adopt a different approach, a different tack? Not necessary at all. But the fact is, human beings often don't wake up until they get a very solid slap in the face. And people are woken up by such things. At least some people are woken up by such things. Some are not woken up by anything. And they're beyond help, apparently. But, or at least for now, they seem to be. But often, Jews will be led to do teshuvah, or at least partial teshuvah, or at least be less negative and anti than they were before, because of all kinds of calamitous events. So there is a purpose and an upside to evil in the world as well. So that is the suggestion that I'm making here. Rabbi Zini also suggests the same thing. I made the suggestion also before I saw Rabbi Zini, saw it many years ago, but he brings this pasuk from Yeshayahu that I did not take note of. That's why I mention him, and what he writes here. And the Taz also says something very similar, that we take note of both the good and the less good aspects of reality, and we are able to appreciate that both of these things are necessary, and that really the world could not work without, at least not as the world is today. The world could not work only with good and only with positive realities and phenomena. That the evil also plays a role, that hardship and suffering, we all know this, everyone knows this, I think. Many people have quoted and stated this, that great novelists or poets or people of that sort can only achieve that kind of greatness if they themselves have experienced also great suffering. A person who has not experienced suffering, in some ways, is a less profound and deep person than someone who has. At least with many people, that's how these things work. So Purim allows us, is a time where we can appreciate more the world as it is, with all its various aspects and facets, and that is a great lesson for us for the rest of the year, not just for Purim.